we're rolling.
Rolling. Hey, look. Hello, Brett.
Hey there, Paul.
Hey, it's Paul from Newspark and Brett from.
Sales quarterback. How are we doing today?
That's right. It's a good time of year for that too. Quarterback, right?
Yes,
So,
tis the season.
tis the season. At least when we're recording this anyway. But anyway, so thanks for joining our stream. And today, um, we talked about sales last week, and we have a lot of different topics. But one thing that sales and marketing both do together, especially with longer buying cycle clients, is email, right?
Correct. We're always doing emails.
We're always doing emails, and it's a strategy for sure, right? And there's a ton of strategies, right? Right?
Yeah, you can either make good ones or bad ones or in between, but you certainly are doing them, and why not be good at it? So that's today's topic is something that's effective, right?
Well, to be honest, a lot of research says that cold email, if we're going to use that, is can be effective with the right messaging and the right audience and things like that. But there's of course really we're talking about like two kinds of email marketing strategies, let's say, right?
Yeah.
One is downloading lists, verifying them, and using an email program that allows you to send emails, you know, blasts, things like that, through cold lists based on your target audience. They don't know who you are, right, Brett? It's interruption marketing. There's no brand, right?
Yeah. So talking cold email still?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's basically saying, well, you're in our audience. We have a problem solving message. Are you interested enough to open and maybe click, right? Now it takes some time to do that, but it is, what I call one of the three pillars of lead gen strategy, right? Search
Mm-hmm.
engines, inbound, outbound, right? What is outbound? You've got telemarketing, you've got emails, you've got both, right? But there's a science and an art behind cold outreach versus the other kind of email, which is, we talked about before about driving leads, not through cold, but through advertising, through search, where you might get the ebooks and the lead magnets and newsletters,
More of
right?
an opt-in type strategy.
Yeah. Why do you think, Brett, when a lot of websites and clients we have, you researching and you get a pop-up sometimes, right?
Right. Oh, those
Like,
annoy me.
well, they could, but they also work at the same time for people to say, "Oh, I'll take that ebook. Here's
Right.
my email address," right? No
I
matter
know.
how you do it, you're trying to promote trust, of course, and credibility and things like that, right? Because it's all again about a website we talked about before about
Yeah. It
trying to
just
drive
wouldn't kill some of
leads.
those websites to like wait for me to read anything before
Well,
they put that pop up.
that's called exit intel. That's what most of them are. So, but listen, um, everything can be tested, right?
Sure.
Well, the point is, it's not really about that. It's about opt-in emails, opt-in names that say, I'll take that, knowing I'm going to get other emails. So that the email programs like Constant Contact and MailChimp and others that
Hmm.
are more traditional, even HubSpot, they like that. That's the whole idea is drive leads and landing pages to give lead magnets. Then you do these email nurture programs or funnels because somebody signed up for something. You see it on Facebook all the time. Oh, look, here's an offer. Here's this, here's that. I just downloaded a checklist matrix for something and
Yeah.
thought it was interesting. Then I wanted to look at it, right? And guess what? I'm getting emails every day.
Well, you talked about strategy before. So, I mean, the overall goal, of course, is to get where you have an actual engagement with sales. In the meantime, I don't know, what are the strategies you've got? A couple buckets of, I mean, how do you go about normally setting up a strategy?
Well, you gotta, first of all, the big picture of any kind of messaging is building trust and credibility by what I call a PSO strategy, which is problem solution offer,
Okay.
right? That's really the big theme of all marketing anyway. We know your problem, we research your problem, we might have a solution, and the offer could be the magnet or it could be a demo, a trial, an assessment, whatever it is, right? but somewhere along the way, you're giving really good content, insights from other places or blogs, and you're just trying to continue to agitate the problems that they have, because that's, if it's cold or if it's through a lead magnet, it's similar really, because, well, for the cold side, you kind of want them to download the magnets because he never heard of you, but maybe they're interested in the topic. Where the people who download the
I
magnet,
mean,
that's the
yeah,
next.
you hope you're fishing, right? I mean, sometimes you hope you're catching their interest with a problem that they might have. I mean, you can't know because it's cold, right? So
You don't know, right? And that's why you need a lot of frequency. Listen, are people going to unsubscribe? Sure. Are people going to give you the finger? Write the finger in their emails? Sure, I get them, but
that would be hysterical.
stop,
So
stop.
I'm literally sending you the finger.
Right, right. They should have, every email tool should have a finger emoji.
It's just a thumbs up or the finger.
Right, right. Yeah, so the finger can be like an automatic unsubscribe. With the finger, instead of just writing unsubscribe, you have the finger, right?
Yeah.
So, but we're being funny here.
You
But
got the next idea. I think that's the next $1 million idea.
no, I think so. It's that different emojis. I always thought, like, when you're driving and someone's like tailgating you, you have the left brake light and the right brake light. They should have the F finger light.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's another story.
So I mean, just to break this down for maybe spoon feed it out a little bit. So if someone's wanting to create an effective email campaign, what are maybe some of the tools or process they should use to just get going on it? Let's just say they wanted to try it themselves.
Yeah, well, again, we go through the tech setup, but let's assume that's done, and we help clients do that anyway. You always have to warm up emails and use different domains for code anyway. But from a message standpoint, again, there's all these different styles. And, everybody has their own style, but really, you want to be somewhat personable, but also give some insights. Don't be too long, but enough to whet the appetite. Show a case study, show that you understand the problem, and agitate a little bit. Yeah, I know this is happening to you. Is this happening? Well, there's a lot of solutions out there. You might want to consider one that we have, or whatever it is, because we're the ones who blank, whether the value proposition is. You really just have to make a list of different topics and different themes. I do it all the time. Sometimes, this video might be an email, right? Because we're giving away thought leadership on some topics. So,
right.
Include, maybe you do want to include video in your emails. But the point, though, is, someone's going to be opening it. You test subject lines. A/B testing is always important, right? If you have enough to work on to test different subject lines. But everybody's
like A/B testing line. That's basically a fancy word for did it work or not.
Right? No, well, one might work. Like one might say, so here's an example. If one subject line was, here's a guide to sales engagement, free download. And the other one might say, are you communicating to your prospects properly? See what I mean? One's broader. You don't know it's a guide. The other one, you already know it's a guide, right? So maybe the one that is kind of more general will have a higher open rate, right? But then they might say, oh, I don't really need this, but I opened it. So sometimes it's deceptive. But that's where you
not just creating one message and then being done with it. Obviously, you want to create it and then keep testing and poking at it to make sure you're constantly improving. And then obviously, life keeps changing. I mean, the trends change, so things that used to probably get opens maybe don't anymore, and they'll go stale. And so you need to kind of keep on that, right? So if someone's like, I guess I'm just saying that, like, let's say if someone's listening to this and they say, hey, I want to get an email campaign going. What are just some of the general tools out there that they should at least be thinking about?
Well, like I said, you're talking tools, but you're talking.
I know. I'm just trying to make it practical for somebody.
If it's cold, you need an email program that, like, I resell one that lets you do cold email.
Mm-hmm.
Create a new domain, so you need your host to set that up, right? Because you don't want to hurt the reputation of your current domain. Then you want to have a warm-up tool that does basically, a warm-up tool basically takes that new email address and kind of does fake back and forths. so that
Okay.
the powers that be, the internet police, say, hey, this is an active email, and people are responding to it, so we don't think it's spam, so we'll let it go, right?
I
Um,
see.
and then you have, programs like Mailgun, Amazon SES, and SendGrid, and things that allow you to connect your email, your domain email, to a larger email sending tool, right? Which
Okay.
Gmail and Outlook basically are not. Okay.
Right. Because they're just too small,
Yeah.
right? They're not
Yeah.
really meant for this.
So, and then of course, then you have the list itself, right? There's so many brokers out there now. The Zoom Info is most popular, but most expensive. Dun and Bradstreet, is big. Data Axle, Uplead I use, and then there's Seamless AI if you want to get them off LinkedIn. And I'm not going to promote LinkedIn scraping one way or another. That's
Right.
up to you. I mean, we
It's
have
there whether you talk about it or not. But
it all depends on philosophy, but you in the list, and then a verifying tool where they verify it within the email list, or you kind of have it, and you can put it through. There's online verifying tools, so you have a lot of things there. In fact, if you have a current CRM, if you have old names there,
hmm
sometimes with clients say, well, maybe some people are still interested, so we do a reactivation campaign. But some of those emails might be old. Some people may have new jobs. So you go to Salesforce or whatever, download old contacts. I'll put them in verification. If they're still there, send them a test message or two. I'll try to re-engage them. So there's so many different, strategies to, reach out to people who you might have downloaded or gotten through trade shows or whatever your sources were. But, that's just part of the technical setup, right?
Right.
So,
Technical piece, which
yeah.
you can muddle through that, and as long as you're careful, like what you're saying, and verification, and then play around with your subject lines, play around with testing. I guess maybe there again, for someone who's not sure, what kind of information can you find out behind the scenes on an email? Meaning like open,
Well, that's just a
time.
general that's just a general metrics, right? Like we talked about before, you can look at those things for reporting. Um, but there's also, what pages they visited, and that you can get that through Google Analytics if you tag links. But, the big picture is, did that person, engage at all? Did they convert, or if they clicked and didn't convert, there's some tools like we use that you can actually have an SDR call when people click on a link, right? Because that means there might be some engagement. They're just not ready to make the appointment yet. So, I mean, these are all, that's what you call, as Brad, like what you coach on is like the sales engagement, right? Because think about it, there's really two kinds of like email programs, let's just say. One is the lead magnet to marketing, which continues to try to nurture people. But then, hey, listen, if somebody engages, downloads a guide, does a demo, whatever it is, then all of a sudden now sales has to engage with them a little further
Right.
to see if we can get them from, the consideration to desire. We already know they have a problem, right? So that's where, we talk about leads with clues and things like that
Right.
to send them, because you already know they have a problem because they've engaged, right? But they're not ready to buy yet. And that's where, the sales process comes in, as you know. I mean, you talk about the difference between, a marketing message, which is a little more thought leadership ish, and, but still problems and, explain things. And then, you guys take over in sales with marketing's help, of course,
Exactly.
to try to continue that engagement message,
So
um,
I've seen just a word that I thought maybe you could explain here a little bit. Cadence. What does someone mean by that? What are we trying to get at there?
yeah. Well, we're going to talk about a cadence, right? No, well, no, I
You
mean,
got
really, it's cadence. It's a cadence is now they call it a funnel as well. Things like that, or an email sequence, depending what marketing automation tool you use. But it's all about putting together a logical, compelling um, string of messages, right? typically they're emails, but obviously when you get in more to the sales engagement and things like that, and so it might be a mix of calls. Salespeople, SDRs aren't calling contacts to have them download guides, right? They're trying to make appointments, so the cold appointment's a little tough, right, to get people. But like I said, if SDRs are calling contacts who downloaded guides or engaged,
it's a totally different deal versus picking up a phone book, right?
Yeah, it's a little more of a closer sale, but yeah, so a cadence, you just kind of plan that out, do you send something every day? You could, or every other day. Some people may get pissed off, right? That you're sending them too many messages. But some people are more aggressive because not everybody reads every email and you want to catch them. So I think you have to be strategic. Like if you're an opt-in and you want to get information, you might get something almost every day with a tip, right? Not a long email, just a tip to continue further that, like, especially if it's, something that, if it's software or whatever it is. And, especially if they sign up for a trial of something and you keep giving them tips about why your program's so good, to hopefully they become a buyer. So that every business has its own message cadence, right? Depending on.
Sounds like it depends on the message too. I mean, if you're trying to send a newsletter out, maybe that'd be monthly, or if you're saying tips could have a much higher frequency and not be annoying. Because I think we all get that at some point. You get too many emails, and then I start to go, all right, how do I get out of this? I'm sick of too much.
I know. I bet there's a lot of contradiction out there when you have a company have their own salespeople trying to do all the sales engagement and follow up, and then we're trying to sell them something, and they're saying, "Oh, I just unsubscribe. I don't want to get this." Well, you're doing it yourself, right? So
they're telling their own salespeople to call and reach out to everybody, and then at the same time, they don't like it themselves.
I know, isn't that funny?
It is an irony of that. But I mean, it's part of. It sounds like it's part of an overall sales and marketing strategy plan. A cadence makes some sense to be able to say, hey, from the time you've first contact, when they've downloaded a lead magnet, hit them with this information, and then maybe wait, a couple days, and then hit with this, and even with proposal, like that's something that I think is underused. Is once you provided someone with a proposal, they should still be part of the marketing outreach program, but it would be slightly different.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be, hey, make an appointment, because they've already had an appointment. It could be, hey, here's some new information that's just irrelevant to our company that you might not know.
Yeah. Well, here's something I tried recently, although I still haven't heard back. Like, in sales, I mean, the dreaded check-in email, right?
Right.
But I, I just put down, I've been anticipating getting started. So I've been, or my off time, been researching your industry and learning the verbiage. So because I'm eager to get started and, getting a head start and learning more about your business, so whatever, so I mean, but it just shows that there's an enthusiasm that you're trying to, learn. Again, that goes back to trust again, that, oh, he's just sending that versus just, we're still researching other vendors. Well, okay. Well, no one's going to be as funny as I am.
That's hard. It's tough. You set a high standard there.
Yeah.
Puns, and I mean, no one else can do a pun like Paul.
That's right. You want a pun in your marketing plan? You come to me.
Talk to you. Right. So I guess we kind of talk. I mean, it's like anything in life. It always sort of matters, and it can be vague that way. But maybe if you just want to kind of summarize the process that you see as important here on someone to either get started.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but the bottom line for anything is know your audience, segment them if you can, and for each segment audience, really understand what their needs are. You don't have to cover every need for every message, but have a theme for each message, and then decide the style of, should it be a case study? Should it be something in the industry? Should it be, mix it up so it's not all the same all the time.
Right.
Here's an article from Gartner or Forrester you might be interested in, that kind of thing. It takes some time to do that but it's or you're just trying to, this ebook, if you're still in the market for it, we have a lot of value in here, and here's some of the things you might learn, that kind of thing. And then clicks are going to go to landing pages, whether it's a a demo, whatever it is, and that, of course, that has to be powerful as well with testimonials and all that. I mean, really, it's a whole thing. It's just and then when you get them, everything is about make me click, make me open, make me read, make me submit information. Now, the funny thing with cold email, obviously, is you already have their contact info, right?
That's true.
But you're still filling out a form anyway, because then they're interested, right?
Just trying to inch them along a little bit.
Yeah. Although a lot of times people just email back and say, let's talk, right? So, then you send them back a message. Okay, let's plan a call. Then you don't hear from them. Being funny, but that happens too, right? It's frustrating.
Oh, I know.
Just you're on your phone all the time, aren't you? So,
well, for me,
can't take it personally though.
You brought up, warming up a domain email, which I hadn't really thought about, which keeps you from. You found these out the hard way, I'm sure, or at least you people that did, and then it's all part of having a good strategy.
Yeah. So the message, minimal links, because again, from the cold standpoint, like optimize deliverability and trying to limit spam. It's hard to track spam, but that if it's a good email, not that many images, don't use the word free in it or something like that, and double exclamation points and all those things, because these things pick that stuff up. I mean, they're trying to protect their servers, so they don't know it. I mean, these servers don't know it's cold. You're just telling them, they're all opt-ins. Or sometimes you do that, but you just got to be careful no matter how you look at it, especially you're doing cold campaigns. Now, opt-ins is a different story because they're expecting your messages. So, but that's it. There's more to talk about, but that's a high level look at, email marketing strategy and, how to do it and, and metrics and things like that, because it's still about getting people to pay attention because they have problems. And then if we can encourage them to go the next step to sales, right? It makes your job easier, Brett.
Good point. Okay, well, I think we've got about 20 minutes or so in here, information. So have a good afternoon there, Paul.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody, or watching.
Take care, everybody.
What you're doing. Okay.
Bye-bye.